This is our News the Weekend edition, and on the broadcast tonight, the opposition leader defends recent comments by the state minister for legal affairs. Plus, the agriculture minister discusses further developments for Fortescue Dock. And plans well underway for the revitalization of the southern recreation grounds.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Good evening, I'm Andrew Knowles, and thanks so much for joining us. Topping the news, opposition leader Philip Brave Davis is coming to the defense of State Minister for Legal Affairs Ellsworth Johnson, who recently apologized for comments he made about appointing a substantive Chief Justice. While insisting he would not get into the internal affairs of the Free National Movement, Davis says he doesn't think anyone thinks less of Johnson for his courageous statements. Our Jasmine Brown leads us off tonight.
Johnson has come under heavy criticism for his comments calling for Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis to appoint a substantive Chief Justice. But after facing calls for him to resign, Johnson apologized for making the comments, telling reporters it was the wrong forum to have done so. But Davis sees it differently. While he said he would not get into the issue of Johnson's apology or whether he was out of line, the official opposition leader said the Yamacraw MP was brave to come out against the Prime Minister.
I don't get into the internal politics of the other party. I shared the view that the Prime Minister ought to act and appoint the attorney, the Chief Justice. And I joined him in his call for the appointment of the Chief Justice.
Johnson has since said he met with the Prime Minister to personally apologize.
Now, whether he was out of line or whether he apologized, that's a matter between him and his party.
Meantime, it remains unclear when the Minnis administration plans on appointing a CJ, as Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis has repeatedly dodged the issue. Senior Justice Stephen Isaacs was appointed acting Chief Justice in December. The Bahamas Bar Association has been among those who called for the appointment.
He joined the voices of the Bahamas Bar Council, of which he once led, and I don't think the Bar Council would have thought anything less of him, because he made the cry or joined them in their cry for the appointment of the Chief Justice.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, the Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources is sticking with his promise to continue plans to modify Fortescue Dock started under the Progressive Liberal Party and discussing ways it may be funded. Our Giorgio Bain tells us more.
The Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources, Renwood Wells, says his ministry intends to move forward with plans to beautify the Fortescue area, which were set in place under the former administration.
It is still the intention of government to be able to beautify Fortescue. We're going to be looking at pushing down those the stalls that are over there that even in our view is somewhat of an eyesore, and we're looking as to how we beautify it, bring them within code.
A public-private partnership is an option being explored, according to Wells, on how the project will be funded. Though he could not say how soon, he promised that he would provide further details during his contribution to the 2018-2019 budget debate.
There's two ways to do it. One, obviously, the government would have to put out the monies. The last administration was thinking about allocating about $9 million, $10 million to do the work. That is one route. The other route that we possibly might go is a PPP, and so we're just exploring all of our options, but we're going to address the issue at Fortescue.
Vendors of the Fortescue area have had several protests over the years, questioning the timeline of these proposed renovations, and according to Wells, he has had several meetings with vendors and they have come to an understanding.
I've had meetings with the vendors at Fortescue. We've spoken about their concerns, and we will address whatever issues it is that they have going forward, and they know our views, we know theirs.
And the timeline on getting to that point?
After the budget debate, during the budget debate, I will speak to it, and so it'll give the Bahamian people a much better view as to timelines and where we believe we would be going.
Reporting for our News Weekend Edition, I'm Giorgio Bain.
All right, thanks, Giorgio. Well, the southern recreational grounds are set for a major makeover as Prime Minister Dr. Minnis moves forward with plans to revitalize over-the-hill communities. Throwing out the first pitch at the opening of the Old Timers Softball League, Minnis told participants that soon the grounds will look completely different as government seeks to return the historic park to its glory days.
This has very, very great history. Politically, PLP used to be Cecil Wallace Whitfield. Randall Fox has a lot of political history. Cricket was at one time here, and of course, many of our baseball stars would have played here before they moved to the fort. At one particular point in time, the inner city was a tourist attraction. We had the Southern Recreation Ground where tourists used to come, and they used to go deep within the inner city. Of course, we had the Drumbeat Theater and the Cat and Fiddle. And I made a promise that we would revitalize the inner city.
The plans are ambitious, with an open-air venue among the improvements on tap.
We're looking at adjoining properties so that we can create an amphitheater. That amphitheater would have various different events and attractions at different times of the week. You'd have a particular day when you'd learn about the history of the Bahamas, the history of our politicians, Lyndon Pinling, Cecil Wallace Whitfield, etc. You can have other arts and crafts on particular days, junk canoe, fireworks, etc. So it'll be a great attraction for tourists within a confined, safe environment. And this would be the commencement of the process rolling more south.
Making over-the-hill areas tax-free zones were among the highlights of the over-the-hill revitalization project. Minnis likened the economic benefit of that zone to a time when tourists walked over the hill to attend popular nightclubs and restaurants in the inner city.
At one point, growing up in the inner city, when the Drumbeat Club was very vibrant, many tourists used to walk over the hill to the Drumbeat Club, and the surrounding area became a town. Many individuals brought out their stalls and items and whatever else. So a city was created around the Drumbeat Club, and once the club was had completed whatever events they were doing, closing, the guests and the tourists would walk back over the hill to the various ships or the hotel, etc. And we want to recreate that. That was a great incentive for the inner city. And I think the tax-free zone itself would give us even greater opportunity.
And we'll take our first break here, but still ahead tonight, fighting childhood obesity in the region. Plus later, the Seahorse Institute marks Autism Awareness Month. We've got those stories and more when our news returns.